Hey there, my name's Taylor and I'm an amateur cyclist. The crit season may be over for the year, but there's still other rides to do. So my brother Rusty and I signed up for the Cotton Patch Challenge, which is here in Texas in Greenville, which is only about an hour from where we live. This year was the first year that they offered a 100-mile route, and that's the one we signed up for, but they also offered 7 other routes from like 6 to 76 miles. And I think there were around 500 to 600 riders registered. So medium-sized event, plenty going on, and lots to get into. So without further ado, let's get into the footage. As I mentioned, Greenville is only about an hour from where we live, so we loaded up the car the night before and drove there in the morning to go pick up our packets and get ready. You can see here, this is the starting line in downtown Greenville just before the race started. So this was all of the different pins. They had, the 100 milers over there, the 76 milers over there, and so on. Here I am walking up. You can see my bike here. I'm on a Canyon gravel bike. I'm carrying 4 24-ounce water bottles and a bunch of food, so a lot of stuff on the bike there. And here we are at the start line just before we're getting going at like 8 o'clock in the morning, downtown Greenville, and all kinds of people around here. All kinds of different bikes as well. As I mentioned, I'm on a gravel bike, so is my brother. There were quite a few people on time trial, very aero bikes with the aero bars, but really just all kinds. And my brother and I had actually done the Hotter Than Hell ride a few weeks before, and we crashed out about 10 miles in, so we were trying to play it really safe here at the beginning, leaving plenty of room in front of us, taking it easy on the corners. We just wanted to keep the wheels down and not crash. And if you notice on this corner, the traffic was stopped. There was a guy standing out there with a giant flag. There was paint on the ground. There's signs next to the road. So the corners were very conspicuous, and I really appreciated that. It was great work on the people managing the course. It was awesome to have the traffic stopped around the corners and really obvious when you needed to turn. So here we are taking it easy. Most of the time we spent on the shoulder of country roads, which means, as you can see there, occasionally we would run into Roadkill, which looks and smells great. However, it's few and far between and kind of unavoidable out in the country in Texas. So, not the greatest thing to run into, but not too bad. And again, you can see we're playing it safe. Turns are well marked, and just having a good time here at the beginning, trying to get into the swing of things. Some of the roads weren't quite as nice. So this is a chip seal road, and you can see there's a rumble strip on the left. So my brother had to be careful passing there because, you're not going to crash if you hit the rumble strip, but it's not going to feel great either. But at this point, we were both happy to be on the gravel bikes because we had bigger tires, fatter tires that we could run at lower air pressure than a road bike or a time trial bike. So that made this a little more tolerable. We were trying to take it, kind of easy at the beginning, but obviously we're still moving pretty quick, around 20 miles an hour. And the deal with this course was that the 76-mile course and the 100-mile course were the same, except that for the 100-mile you did like an extra loop. And so at this point we had the 76-mile riders with us, and they were the fast ones because they started behind us and have caught up to us. So we're just trying to sit in and, draft with them while we can. Still the same thing going on here, as I mentioned. This guy in the blue, there were actually 4 of these guys in the blue, the Rafa jerseys, and they were pushing pretty quick. So we saw them go past on our left, and we thought, well, let's hang on to that and see where they take us. But at the same time, we didn't want to go too fast and blow up and not be able to finish the 100-mile because we didn't know, but we assumed they weren't doing the full 100. We thought they were doing the 76. Going past a little, railing here on the side, there was a rider up ahead. There he is with a flat. That was actually the only person we saw with a flat the entire day with any kind of mechanical problem. So that's nice. There wasn't a bunch of, garbage, glass, metal, whatever in the shoulder, so it made for good riding and not really any flats for anybody. It's hard to capture on camera, but one of the downsides of riding in the shoulder is that traffic will pass you pretty close, and there's a truck going by with a trailer, and they're going 55, 60 miles an hour, and there's a rumble strip in the middle of the road, so they're rumbling along. It's super loud and makes you jump the first time you hear it, and then you get kind of used to it, but still not very pleasant. And again, like the Roadkill, there's not really anything you can do about this. People are driving on the roads. This was really the only tactical decision I made the entire day. As I mentioned, that 76-mile group was out ahead and they were going kind of fast. And I saw this lady here on the right not being able to keep the wheel of the person in front of her, so I decided to move up and close the gap and try to keep the group together, or at least stay with the front group. But, you know, for 5 hours in the saddle, one little tactical maneuver is really all that there was for the day. It was also fun to see some spectators along the way. So most of them were people who were volunteering for the event and flagging corners and stuff. But up here on the right, you had somebody just sitting out, cheering us on. You can hear me ringing my bell there, and the guy behind me honked his horn. So it's fun to see that. Nice to know that people in the community like to come out and watch a bike race. And as I mentioned, you know, we're trying to keep a good pace here. We're still doing 22 miles an hour, but since we're in the draft, we're not really working too hard. You can see that my heart rate's down in the 130s, which is like not even the upper end of zone 2 for me. And my brother gives me the elbow here, so I pull out to take a pull, and we're chatting and we're talking about how really the only time it feels like we're doing work so far, you know, we're only 30 miles into this ride, but feels like the hills are the only hard part, and the hills aren't even that steep. You know, right now we're on one of them and it's 2% grade maybe at most, so these aren't mountain stages we're talking about, just a little bit of a hill. So we're coming up here to some stopped cars on the right, and it turns out that a rider had crashed. This was the only crash that we saw for the whole day. I don't know what happened to them, what happened for this crash, but I hope they're okay. And you know, there were plenty of people checking on them, so I feel good about the SAG situation for this ride. I'm pretty sure an ambulance came and got them as well, but the only crash we saw on the day. So this is where the riders doing the 76-mile course split off from us, or I guess more accurately, we turned off and they kept going. So we turned to the right here to loop back and do a part we just did, and the 76-mile people went on. And I was surprised at how many people didn't turn with us. I thought most of the people with us were doing the 100-mile, but it turns out most of them were doing the 76. So our group got a lot smaller here, and we had to kind of regroup after this. So as I said, the group got smaller. This is just a little ways after we did that northbound leg, and we're with 5 people now, including me, so 4 other people. And we stuck together until the next stop. So that guy that just passed me, his name's Shay, and his name's Daniel, and then that's Jerry, and then my brother passes me. So the 5 of us stuck together for a while and traded pulls up until the next stop. This is just another vantage point of the same group. So you can see me there pedaling away and the rest of the group coming past me after I did a pull. So this is what it looked like for, you know, most of the morning, just trucking along, having a good time. This was our first and only stop of the day. So we passed this rest stop earlier, and then we come and do this loop again, and so we stopped the second time. This is around mile 56. And as I said, I had 4 bottles with me, my brother had 2, so each of us had 3 bottles, so drink about a bottle an hour. It's time to fill up. So we stopped here. They had electrolyte mix, they had water, they had pickle juice, they had snacks, they had ice. It was a great rest stop, and so we got a bunch of water, got back on the bikes and kept rolling. Unfortunately, at the stop, 2 of the riders with us, one had to go to the restroom and another had to take a phone call, so we dropped them, and it was just me, my brother, and Jerry from here on out. But here we are going over the Oak Cove part of the lake. This is just, it's not like a bridge exactly, kind of a levee, but you know, a little bit of water, it's nice. And you can also see that it's kind of cloudy. We had excellent weather all day. It was nice and cool, and we had a wind kind of from the south actually, so at this point it was a bit of a crosswind, but you can see later on it'll be a tailwind, which is nice for the last part of the trip. And then we're coming up on one of the main attractions of the ride, which is going over Lake Tawakoni. This is a 2-mile long bridge, I think, and you know, you get to just see some of the water, see the lake, and take it all in while you're riding along. It's a nice wide shoulder here. And again, here's another vantage point. So that's me in the front, and that's Jerry in second, and this is my brother taking the video. There's Lake Tawakoni, and this is the super long bridge going over it. Most of the ride, like I mentioned, was on the shoulders of country roads, but this part was pretty nice, this little wooded, small country road. And yeah, I just wanted to highlight this because it was a nice little reprieve from some of the 60, 70 mile an hour country highways we were on. So I like this. More of this, please. But I know it can be hard. My brother and I go through, try to get long distance routes, and it's hard to find lots of routes like this without having to deal with those big roads. And here we are at the end of the race. Basically, we're at 99.9 miles, and I was taking a pull. My brother goes off the front and takes a pull, and I'm trying to hang on, but he drops me. We've been riding for almost 5 hours at this point. I'm giving it all that I can, but there's not much left in the tank. So he pulls ahead a little bit, and Jerry's ahead of me, and I'm just trying to give it everything I can. And then coming into the finish line, my brother finished just up ahead of me by like a minute. And yeah, here we are. They've got one lane shut down coming through the finish line, and back where we started in downtown Greenville. So we had a great day. I finished in just under 5 hours. And after that stop, like I mentioned, it was me, my brother Rusty, and a friend we met along the way, Jerry. And yeah, we took turns pulling, and all of us finished in under 5 hours. We had a great time. And so here's the stats from Strava. You can see just over 100 miles, just under 5 miles moving, and about 212 average watts. Thanks for watching.